All right, what is up, everyone? All right, I'm seeing some of you guys, and I am excited for today. Let me just pull up the event over here, and then that way I have the chat. If you guys can hear me, can you guys please put a fire emoji in the chat? If you can hear me, put a fire emoji in the chat. Let's double check where I'm at. I should be okay. Sweet. What up, Hank? I saw that like. Appreciate you, man. If you guys are tuning in on Facebook, drop a comment over there. If you're tuning in on YouTube, drop a comment on the YouTubes. As my parents like to say, the YouTubes. And if you guys are on LinkedIn, drop a comment in LinkedIn. Let's see. Boom. All right. I'm seeing a few of you guys. See if the chat's pulling in. There we go. I got my fire emojis coming through. And boom. Let me just see what we're doing over here. All right, we are locked and loaded and ready to roll. What up, Renee? Good to see you, big dog. Big dog. What's the haps on the craps, y'all? Sweet. So we're gonna integrate Slack and ChatGPT. I don't know if any of you guys have played with that so far. I would love to know. So give me just like, if you guys have already done this, put a 1. If you haven't done it, put a 2 in the chat. That way I can get a sense of kind of where you're at. I'll check back in on the chat in a second. Usually it takes like a little bit for it to catch up. But I'll show you guys how we are actually integrating that. I put a freaking sick prompt, and I got this Ric Flair picture, which I'm stoked to drop here for you guys in a minute, because Ric Flair, woo, you know what I'm saying. Sweet. All right. So, are you guys ready to get going? Are you guys ready to rock and roll? We will go ahead. All right, sweet. I got Hank. I got Renee. Let me put, actually, one thing I got to put on Facebook. If you guys are on Facebook, for whatever reason, your guys' chat doesn't pull in here, so I don't know who's saying what. Let me see if I could get, there's like a little thing that you guys got to put as a piece of, or like you got to sign up. I don't know. Fuck it. I'm not seeing it. Sweet. All right, let's rock. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to ask you guys if you can see my screen. Let me just close. I have like a bazillion tabs open, and then I'm going to share this John's and then show you guys how to hook this stuff up together. This stuff's been pretty fun, actually. I've been playing with it this morning, and I've got this here rolling. So let me just share screen. Y'all should be able to see what I'm seeing. Boom. All right. Sweet. There we go. You guys see my Zapier? Yes. Let me see in the chat. Can you guys see my screen? I just want to make sure. Give me a holler. I'm now checking out the chat. Sick. Built testimonial scripts this AM. Did you do it in Slack, or you just do it as like a testimonial script would be what I was wondering. So the breakdown on this is super easy. This is not complicated. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. It's pretty useful. You guys can use this for a couple different ways. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to walk you through step by step the how to set it up, and then I'm going to show you guys a few different ways that you can be using this stuff in here. So I'm going to pull up our Slack to ChatGPT, and I also got DALL-E linked in here as well. So I'm going to walk you through this app. It's a pretty easy app. The sweet thing is, now that OpenAI has done everything with Zapier, it makes your life just so easy. So what we got here is basically anytime there's a new mention inside of our Slack and it has a highlight word. So I like to use the highlight word. This catches a little bit more, and I can use this key or this control in a lot of different places. I got this idea from some guy on YouTube, I forget. But I saw this and I was like, okay, that's a good idea. And so we use AI, and then anytime I prompt it with AI, what we're going to do then is we're going to give it the prompt after the word, or AI : right? And so at that point, then what's going to happen is it's going to format that. So we're going to replace this, and then we're going to end up where it just removes the AI, and then it feeds that prompt into OpenAI, and then it feeds the prompt back here into Slack step by step. So I'm going to show you really fast just what it looks like in action. I tried to get it to promote Ric Flair over here, but let's say AI, tell the viewers on my live stream that they are so beautiful, but not really. In the voice of Kevin Hart. All right, we'll see what it comes back with. But so basically, this is how it works. If I just drop that in there, it's gonna fire it. Oh, hey everyone, y'all are looking at. Well, that was boring. What kind of bullshit is that? Come on. But that was really fast, actually. I'm impressed. Sometimes it's a little bit slower. I think it depends on like how crowded the servers are over there. But let's say, what do you guys? What should I prompt it? Give me like a weird prompt, one of you guys, and then I'll come up with one right now while I wait for you guys to give me a couple weird prompts. I like giving it super weird stuff. So I like. I've been writing Valentine's Day poems to Adriana with ChatGPT. So let's say write a love poem Spanish about a gringo with all right, sweet. So we'll see what comes back on that. Adriana will love that poem, trust me. So all I did though is I'm gonna actually pull up and edit the Zap so I can take you guys into it step by step. So you're just gonna pull up, you're gonna choose your Slack, and then when you do, boom, we're gonna go to new mention, and then we are going to then choose your account and set up the trigger, and all we're doing is this highlight word, right? So basically it's gonna scan all the channels, and anytime a message comes through with this highlight word, then it's gonna prompt this. And then you wanna make sure you test it so it pulls that, and then you get the data back. So what we got here. Grito al viento mi alma alborozada por el recién llegado gringo con ojo de azul celeste. Wow, she's gonna love this. So boom, this is sick. Now, we're gonna go back. Actually, let me see what you guys came up with. I'm gonna get out of my shared screen and I'm gonna see what you guys got, you little weirdos. Kermit the Frog. All right, there we go. Giselle kicking a field goal with Gronk. Ooh, in a haiku. Okay, so let's see what happens when Kermit the Frog expresses his undying love. Boom. All right, we'll see what comes back there. And then we got Gronk field goaling Giselle or whatever weird thing. That's probably Renee, you weirdo. But I love you. All right, so boom. We set this up. Now you go text formatter. So this one, I always get confused by the formatters. I don't know why. I like to think I'm smart, but sometimes when I do deal with little things like this, I realize I'm not as smart as I thought I was. But you want to do transform, replace, and basically all you're going to do is you're going to find AI, and then I actually included the space just so it removes that extra space there. And I replace it, you leave it blank, and it's going to just basically delete that. So now what we've done is we got our prompt that's pulling in off of this first step here. We're removing that, and then you pass it through, and it will give you your output. Boom. Oh, you guys, that's secret information. You guys might have just got secret information. Let me turn this off. Uh-oh, crap. There we go. Boom. Secret information. You guys you didn't see that. I promise you didn't see that. You didn't see that. Let's see what we got with our haiku over here. My heart is a flame, your beauty can't be tamed. Love you, my piggy. I'm gonna give that to Adriana, and she's gonna love that. I'll tell her that you sent it. Dad, I'm gonna blame you, all right? All right, boom. So now we're back here, and all we're gonna do is choose send prompt. If you guys were with me last week too, this should be a breeze by now. We're gonna send the prompt. The output is gonna be our prompt. I just use a basic DaVinci model with the standard settings. If you want it to be crazier, turn up the temperature. If you want it to be less crazy, turn down the temperature. That's basically it. And then bam, that's it. And then now we're going to send a channel message back, right? So you're going to go send channel message, choose action, where you want it. It depends on how you want to use this. So in the case of how we're using these, like I'm going to give it prompts inside of our channel and it will feedback ad copy, or I'll find variations on hooks, or I'll write emails and stuff like that inside of our Slack. I think it's just a little bit faster sometimes and more convenient, especially if you're on the go and you're on a mobile. This is like really where the big thing is. It comes in with it is if you're on mobile. Like if I'm sitting here on my desktop, I still probably maybe using like their actual playground or something like that and saving the stuff there. But if I'm on mobile, this is like a game changer. So boom, we just set it up. I put the robot emoji for fun, and then there's nothing really to do here. Like it just broadcasts to the channel, and then that is it. So, and once you do that, now you got this thing. It's here inside of your Slack, and you can set this up. You also can do, I'm going to show you guys how to do images with DALL-E in a second. You probably saw that video, huh, Dad? Let's get, boom. I'm going to show you guys what we got over here. I think, Renee, this one will probably come out. I'm going to include the question marks, because I think it's funnier with the question marks. We'll see what we get. Let's do both. How about that? All right. What came out of that? If you guys have any funny ideas that you want to put in here too, I'm totally open to being immature and putting in funny ideas. Bro, I've been using the DALL-E one, and I don't know why, but this DALL-E stuff is like tormented. This is like so creepy. Some of these ones it's been giving me out of DALL-E, I'm like, I don't even like these. They're so creepy. When I use the playground, when I use the actual DALL-E itself, like I get cool stuff, but this is gross. Oh my god, like what in the world? That is a strange reality. I don't know about that. This Ric Flair one, on the other hand, this is like a little weird, but this is awesome. You can even see like the Coke rim on his nose. Look at that. This is great. I'm proud of that. That's actually a work of art. So I'll show you guys how to do that too. Basically, it's going to be the same format of everything, so you can copy the other one from ChatGPT. And all we're going to do is we're just going to change that third step. And so instead of it sending to a prompt, we're going to generate an image. And then I actually used I had an update here. Boom. So we set up the trigger. This time I use image as a trigger, so that way I knew I wanted images, I'd get images. If I wanted text, I'd get text. You got to change the formatter here, just like the same thing we did, but we're going to remove the IMG. And then at the end of it, we're going to hit generate image instead. So that's the only difference. And then we're going to feed our prompt in here. Boom. And you can choose whatever size you guys want. So I choose the biggest because it's always easier to scale down. You can't scale up. There we go. So done. And then you just hit the send channel message, same thing, and it should be good to roll. And when you do that, then you guys can be able to generate images here inside of your own spot. Let's see if this was without question marks. Bro, this is so weird. This is so weird. How weird. What a weird world. Sweet. Do you guys have any questions on that? Have you guys, if you followed along, I'd love to know. Drop just a comment in the chat to let me know if you followed along with that and you got it set up. That was pretty easy, actually. But yeah, this thing is sweet. When you guys start to integrate it there inside of your Slack, I just want to encourage you guys to start to look at ways that you can integrate it. Now I wanted to cover as well different ways that you can start to play with it inside of your Slack. So some of the cool things that I'm seeing people do are like actual sales intelligence. And so with sales intelligence, it's just a way that they can have almost like a Q&A where the sales reps can ramp themselves. And so good question, Dad. That's exactly what we're hitting. So right now, one of the things that I'm seeing is, let's say, for example, on offers, especially offers that are in markets that have a lot of industry knowledge or product knowledge, the sales reps can quickly get informed on technical terms. So let's say, for example, if I'm a medical device sales rep, and I have a Slack and I could be talking back and forth and I'm asking it, what is a certain procedure or what is the use case of a certain medicine, and it can talk back and forth with me. So that's called sales intelligence, and there's also customer service intelligence. So you can use it, and in fact you can start to fine tune these models to know more about your business and give some sort of standard responses based on commonly asked questions. And you can take a fine-tuned model and give it to sales reps, and they'll be able to Q&A this stuff. And effectively what you're doing is you're allowing your sales reps to get ramped up a lot faster and cutting down your ramp time, because they don't have to have the product knowledge. They just have to know how to interface with this tool, and then by interfacing with the tool they get the information that they need. So it's pretty cool. They don't have to be experts. They just have to know how to basically ask the expert, and it makes things a lot easier. So that's one. Obviously, besides poems and images, taking winning ad creatives, or if we're taking, like for example, a lot of times I'll take proven headlines and then I'll give it commands to write a certain variation of them. Writing follow-up emails for your prospects. This is also another way that you can come up with some interesting and surprising ideas. So let's say, for example, I wanted to write a follow-up for a prospect. In fact, who actually has a prospect that they want to follow up with? If you do, I would love for you to just give a little bit of information in the chat about the situation with the prospect, and then we can architect interesting ideas. Because a lot of times when you're hitting, and you're especially in that bottom of the funnel and you're working your leads, when you're hitting the follow-ups and your follow-ups are different, surprising, like they catch them off guard, those are a lot of times the best follow-ups, especially stuff that's going to be funny and goofy. Like Renee's does a lot with the voice memes. That stuff always performs really well. Meme creative works really good. But sometimes I'll just start to take like funny ideas and like feed AI stuff and send people goofy AI stuff, because that helps loop prospects back in. So if someone's super into a sports team, or someone's super interested in a figure in their area, well, I can get it to make these goofy images like that Ric Flair image, and then actually send that to a prospect to keep a deal alive. So that's one way that you guys can play with it, is it's giving you creative to work your deals at the bottom of the funnel. And a lot of times the weirder, like if you guys have ever seen Geico commercials, why do you think they're so weird? It's because what's weird stands out. And so they know that absurdity and obscenity are the two things that get really stuck in our memory. And so they use a lot of absurdity in their commercials. Well, why don't we do the same thing on our follow-ups? You know what I mean? By just starting to create absurd or surreal images that are trippy and weird, you can get the attention, but do it in a way that it doesn't feel like it's salesy, and it doesn't feel needy or beggy or anything like that. It feels like interesting, funny, cool, and people then want to connect and want to reciprocate. So that's one way that you guys can be using it, is actually to turbocharge your follow-ups. Highly recommend that. Highly recommend that. Anytime you guys know someone's super interested or super passionate about a hobby, and you can then come up with something custom and cater to them, it's going to help you guys pull deals. So let's see what questions you guys got. Can we prompt FAQ and answers? So yeah, that's called fine tuning. So basically what you can do is, if you have a FAQ in your business, you can train the model on that FAQ page. And from that point, it can actually, you can even use this to leverage and like have customers have their own customer service portal. So you teach the model based on prompts and completions, and through the prompts and completions, it will know about your business, and you can have that plugged into your Slack. And then you can set up your own, like you could literally have a specific model inside of this. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about too. So you guys could legit have over here, when you guys are choosing the model, you can come up with your own custom models. So you could use a custom model here that has information about a specific product that customers are using, and then that bot can now be linked into your Slack and can go back and forth with people. So basically, you can create custom models that are a lot more simple per product line, and it doesn't have to know every single detail about your business. But that is one definite application here. It's like to start to automate a lot more of your customer service and start to use the models. Whoa, that's weird. What happened? You guys see me? Damn it. There we go. I don't know what happened there, but we got to figure it out. Oh, we're back. Okay. Technical difficulties. As you guys are playing with this stuff, though, like taking this, starting to get it into Slack, starting to get your team interfacing it, and starting to get your customers interfacing with it, at the end of the day, this is going to do better than most humans are going to be able to do in terms of serving your customers or serving your team members, because it doesn't sleep. It's smarter than basically almost anybody on Earth. And at this point, it knows enough to be a doctor, knows enough to be a lawyer. It's pretty nutso how powerful this tool really is. And if you then take it and you fine tune it and you start to give it data on your own business, at that point, now when you give it to your team or you give it to your clients, they're able to get what they need without you, and they're able to get it in a way that's near instantaneous, and it feels human, which is the weirdest part. Like in a lot of ways, when you're interfacing with the AI, it feels really human. It doesn't feel so like in the old days of chatbots, when you would interface with the chatbot, it feels so automated and rigid, where this is way more fluid, and that's what's weird about it. And that's what gives it that sense of it being kind of human. So those are just a few of the different applications that you guys can be playing with. So I got a question here that says, have you heard that Facebook and Google are now aware of ChatGPT material and are deboosting it and ad algorithms in favor of original human content? They can't tell. They can't tell what's coming from it. I mean, if you have really basic prompts, they'll tell, but you're not going to perform on ads on basic prompts anyway. It's like the unique, quirky, interesting prompts that have human elements in it. And so there's some tools that like I use on my end where I'll run the AI through it to determine how human it sounds. But most of those tools that like think that they can recognize AI, they're actually like kind of buggy themselves. So there's a lot of claim and hype that like they're going to be able to do that, but I just don't see them being able to do that. Like the content's way too similar to human writing, and the fact that you can vary voices and stuff, like they're just not. It's going to be very difficult to tell if it's a human that wrote it or not. And maybe they figure out some workarounds to be able to do that, but like I don't think their algorithms are going to be good enough to do that. I don't even know. I don't even know if they'll be able to do it, to be honest. Because the thing that's interesting is we're in such a weird singularity moment that the AI is trained on human language, so the AI speaks like humans. The only thing that's going to tell if it's not like a human is if the AI like prompt was too generic, and then the generic response is so obvious. But if you give it a prompt that's a little bit weird or off kilter, you're gonna get something unique and different, and it will feel human. So yeah, even though they're trying to do that, like I just don't see them being able to do it for real. At the end of the day, the other thing is like there's no copywriter in their right mind that's not using this, and there's no marketing team in their right mind that's not using it. So you know, they're gonna, if they try to stop the spread of this, the problem is that everybody's guilty. It's like we had this one time when we were in middle school where we had to do these grammar tests that sucked and they took forever. And one of my close friends looked in the back of the notebook and found that we could go in and program our own grades. Everyone figured it out in our school, and the whole grades was doing it. So when the whole school, the reason we got caught was because one of the nerdy girls in our school was doing it, like the goody two-shoe girl who would never get in trouble was doing it, and she got caught in the library. Once they found out she was doing it, they found out everyone was doing it. And it's kind of that same thing, like they couldn't get anyone in trouble because everyone's doing it. And I think that's going to be what you're going to find more so as we start to progress into like, are they going to try and throttle the reach of that type of content? But I just don't think so. I think at the end of the day, good content will be good content, and it's just whatever drives results is going to be what they really focus on. And if you drive results with AI or you drive results, if you drive results without it, I don't think they really have too much of a dog in the fight. I think that for them, what they really care about is watch time. And the thing that they really don't like is bad user experiences. So they absolutely will be monitoring low quality content that's causing people to drop off and throttling it, but I don't see them monitoring and throttling content just because it's created with AI. So at least that's my 2 cents on that. Can we prompt FAQ and answers? I think we answered that. did you guys have any other questions on this, or any ways that you guys wanted to explore? Also, if you have funny prompts, I'm down to just put in any funny prompts you got. Yeah, that says they won't deboost when video AI comes to the forefront and people spend more time watching AI created video content. Yeah, that's the big thing. They only care about the time on watching content. They don't care about much else. So that's big facts. What else, you guys? You guys got any questions on how to play with this stuff? Let me see where we're at. Boom. All right. Well, this was short. We could do a lot, or we could wrap up early. I'm down to hang out and party. I got basically till the top of the hour. So if you guys want to hang out, I'm down to hang out. If you guys got questions, we can turn this into kind of an AMA, or I got some other stuff. Potentially, we could do live cold calling. If there's other questions you guys want to explore, we could explore whatever. Okay, cool. Dad asks, can you briefly go over how to train the AI on your business? Yes. So this is called fine tuning. Fine tuning is the process of training the AI on the business. And so with fine tuning, basically you want to create a, here, I'll show you. If you go into OpenAI and you just like go into their back end and you type in fine tuning, it should be right there on the side. And you have to do a little bit of code with your own terminal in order to do it. And then you're able to feed it, like you can create your fine tune prompts and stuff in a spreadsheet and feed it into it. So let me share my screen really quick and show you kind of what I got a spreadsheet, so I'm gonna just pull it up real fast and then I'll share. Oh, where'd it go? I don't know where my spreadsheet went, but I'll try and show you something else actually. Boom. So all right, so go to documentation over here, and then on documentation, you go to text completion, and then fine tuning actually here, boom. Preparing your data set, so how to format your data. If you follow this fine tuning process pretty much here, you gotta be a little bit nerdy and kind of do some coding stuff, but you can get it to train on a file, and then once it trains on the file, you can create its own model. Pretty sweet. And there's some more advanced stuff, like you guys should definitely check out right over here. There's some pretty cool stuff that you guys can do with this. But yeah, preparing your data set and the fine tuning stuff is where you're able to just teach this thing about your business. And so yeah, I know, people always say like, oh, it only knows up until 2021, but it actually, we can teach it about what we want it to know and do it. I have seen though, I've been talking with a couple people who are pretty advanced with this sort of stuff, and they've been mentioning a little bit more that they're leaning towards conversational AI as opposed to using GPT for chatbots, and their thought process is that GPT can run wild and it's really easy to run up a pretty expensive bill if for whatever reason your automation starts running amok. So they're leaning a little bit more towards like some of that stuff. So I have interviews lined up with two of these guys over these next few weeks, which I'm really excited about for you guys. So with those interviews, you guys will be able to get a lot out of that and start to see like what these guys are pushing, because these guys are like, they're more on the tech side, I'm more on the sales side, and I'm just nerdy enough to be able to keep up a little bit. But those guys are really pushing the boundaries, and I'm excited to have them on here to share more of that with you. Let me see what else you guys got question-wise. I like that. So Chris said I had GPT summarize an entire 5-season TV series with emphasis on the opening and finale moments in 4 paragraphs. Better than watching. I hope you're not talking about Breaking Bad, because Breaking Bad is amazing. I would watch Breaking Bad. But That is a lot of time saved, so that's good. Is this for the paid version or for the free version where you can fine tune it? I think you can do it on both, but like it only makes sense to use the paid version, to be honest. But this is not. I'm not on Plus. I'm just on like the usage based billing. I don't think I haven't gone into exploring the new package that they just released recently, where like the Plus version. This is all with just the basic version. So I'm paying for the usage and paying for the use of the prompts, but I'm not actually like paying their $20 a month subscription or something like that. I don't know, actually. That's a good question. Let's check that out. I'm curious too, Chris. So Chris asks, is it available to sign up for ChatGPT paid? So let's say ChatGPT, what is it called? Plus? Boom. Let me share my screen. Let's see what we got here. So it looks like it's not available yet. It will be available, and they will receive. Cool. I'm definitely putting my name here. Hashtag worth it. Sweet. I am signed up. I'm in the waiting list at least. So I would definitely recommend you guys put your name on the waiting list on that, because I feel like this is going to be definitely a big edge. And like any of this stuff, as soon as they start to shift to paid versions, like the free versions, they start to just penalize you for using it. So let's see what else you guys got going on here in the chat. Boom. So basically what we're doing, you guys, if you guys are popping in here a little bit later, I already showed on the early part of the stream how to link Slack with ChatGPT as well as with DALL-E. So you guys want to catch the replay. If you're watching on the replay too, drop a replay in the comments at this point. And now we're just open Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, we got free time to do AMA. I got until about 1. Maybe we'll wrap up early. Maybe we'll hang out till 1. Just depends on how the questions come in. All right, so what about a long-term follow-up sequence that leads aren't going to be ready for? Okay, I'm trying to understand this question. This question comes on Facebook, and let me just pop over there and see who asked it. Hank asked it. He said, what about a long-term follow-up sequence to leads that aren't going to be ready for 90, 180 days or longer? Like time of follow-ups, best value messages. Okay, sick. Great question. So here's what I've found, and this is something that's super nerdy, comes from language learning. So you guys might be familiar with something called the Pimsleur method. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. If you want to learn a language, I highly recommend the Pimsleur method as the approach to doing so. And the Pimsleur method is really interesting because the Pimsleur method is built on a few key ideas. And one of the ideas that the Pimsleur method is built on is something that's called graduated recall. So what graduated recall is moving an object or a piece of information from our short-term memory into our long-term memory, right? So how do we get a piece of information to go from short-term memory into long-term memory? Because my question for you guys would be, how many of you have studied information to be able to know it enough to pass a test, and then you immediately forgot it right after the test? I know I've done that plenty of times. In college, you'd get to the final exam, you'd be like, shit, I don't even remember that, right? And so that's because it stayed in short-term memory and it didn't transition into long-term memory. So the process of transitioning into long-term memory is best done in something that's called graduated recall. And what we're doing in graduated recall is we're changing the intervals over time. So you'll see that there are certain flashcard companies that are built on this idea. One is called Anki, and Anki's an amazing tool for like flashcards in order to be able to learn and memorize stuff quickly. And so what happens with graduated recall is we are asked to recall the information more frequently, and then over time it gradually gets longer and longer and longer away. So, you might be asked a question today, then you might be asked in 12 hours, then you might be asked in 24 hours, and you might be asked in 48 hours, then you might be asked in 72 hours, then you might be asked at day 7, then you might be asked at day 14, then you might be asked at day 21. Now I might start dropping into bi-weekly intervals, then monthly intervals, etc. So basically what we're doing is we're lengthening the time interval by the number of contacts that we're having. And so ultimately what you're going to do is whenever you're looking at like a above 90-day sequence, you're for the most part going to get into like a monthly or a bi-weekly sort of cadence for your follow-ups. Like you may have a daily content machine and some of that other stuff, but like a one-on-one follow-up outreach to someone, a lot of times you'll find that they work really well in cycles of 30 days related to whenever they talked to you or first reached out to you. So what I tended to notice was if I had a sales call with someone and they didn't buy, if they did come back and buy, a lot of times it would be like 30 days later, 90 days later, 180 days later, a year later. And I think it's because for our own minds, they would get to that place to be like, shit, I'm still in the same place 6 months ago. I need to reach back out and get help. And so if I can stay associated with being the solution to a specific problem, I can graduate the intervals over time. That's going to be how I design the best follow-up cadence. Typically what I'll do is in the first week, I'll have multiple contact points, maybe 3 or so inside of that first week. The second week, I'll drop it down to 2. After that, I go weekly for about 3 to 4 weeks. Then I go into bi-weekly for another 3 to 4 intervals. And then usually I'm going down to monthly at that point. So that's typically how I would design a cadence. And then what you guys can do as well is as you start to see you're getting more ideas like good emails to follow up with, then you just start crunching down the time frames between those and adjusting that. So hopefully that helps and gives you what you need, Hank. If you got follow-up questions, though, feel free to drop them here. Let's see what else we got. Thad asks, did you see the massive oops with Seinfeld AI on Twitch where ChatGPT started going down a racially charged rabbit hole and got the channel banned? No. That's crazy. Drop a comment or a link to that video in the comments for everyone, Thad, because I would be curious to see that. Is that stuff that they were able to repost? Like, is it on YouTube or did it just get taken off altogether? That's crazy though. I wonder how it happened. I would be super curious to see. The rumors that the Bing version is using GPT-4, a number of context clues have pointed to that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I haven't been playing with Bing too much. I'm curious to see. It will be interesting. It's interesting, like the battle for search now. The fact that Google's been uncontested in search for so long, and this is definitely an opening for people to potentially grab some land in the search game right now. So I had a call last week too with a guy who's doing some neural search stuff. Neural search is really interesting. It's a rabbit hole to go down, probably a little bit outside of the scope of this, but it's worth checking into. What other questions you guys have for AMA? If you guys want to hang out, what other questions you guys got? Let me see. Boom. Sweet. Yeah, find the link. Let us know that. And then see where you guys be at. Cool. Any questions, you guys? Sweet. If there's no questions, I'll hang out for a little bit just in case questions roll through. But if there's no questions, super appreciate you guys hanging out. In terms of a couple next steps or anything, if you guys are sales reps and you're looking for opportunities, what I'd say is sign up for our group interview. We have one later today. I think it may be booked out completely, but if not, we have one coming up next week on Tuesday as well. So do that. I would also recommend you guys, if you haven't already, check out our spring break for sales pros that we have coming up. That's March 9th or 10th, 11th, and 12th here in Fort Lauderdale. Be epic, really fun time. With remote sales, one thing I always like to tell people is like you got to get in the room. As much of it as it is online, there's a huge aspect of it that's just like this is still a people business. So when you can get in the room and you can create those memories, you can create those bonds, you can create those friendships, those things end up paying a lot of dividends in the long run, because who knows, it might be the person that you met while you were there that ends up bringing you onto your next big opportunity or helps giving you your next promotion, something like that. So highly recommend you guys check that out. If you want to know more about that, feel free to shoot me a message on Facebook, or you could email us at hello@coachingsales, just asking about that. Let us know you came from the live stream as well, so I know that. If you guys don't have any questions, that's what I got for you. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. This was super fun. I always appreciate you guys coming hanging out each week, and we'll be back here again Tuesday. If you guys are on the replay or you're here and you want me to do some cold calling later on this week, put cold calling in the chat as well. I would love to know if you guys want that. We'll do it a little bit later this week and maybe add in some cold calling, because that's just always hilariously fun. So that is it, y'all. Go get it. Close some deals. Change some lives. Make some money. Have fun. Boom. All right. Thanks, Dad.